Hey there, YouTube. Mountain Boy here, sharing with you today my cross-country ski trip I recently took to the Atkinson Snow Park. This is located just outside of Trout Lake, Washington, about an hour and a half out from downtown Portland. And you can find all the information for the area on the Washington State Parks page, and it includes maps and updates. Now, in this case, you want to go to the snow park pages, or there's also the non-motorized page. This is the map for the area. Everything in red's for snowmobiles, but the blue is what we're going to be on today. Here's the Forest Service. They have a little local guide, which you can pick up at the headquarters there in Trout Lake as you're driving by. So let's get in the car and we'll head on up to Trout Lake. When we're going through town, we like to stop at the Trout Lake Hall. They have a cafe there called the Post Office Cafe, which is just really a neat place. It's tiny, has good coffee, it has amazing food. Everything is just made fresh from scratch, and you can kind of see the kitchen there in the background. So we got a few savory treats and kind of loaded back up in the car and headed on up the hill. You know, you should really kind of take the time to enjoy the drive and keep an eye out for local wildlife. Oftentimes in the various kind of open fields or clear cuts, you'll see elk and deer and all sorts of things. Anyway, as you can see, the road is in really great condition. The county plows it almost all the way up to the snow park. At the end of the plowed part of the road, you just take a left and you go for about a minute on into the snow park area. They maintain this pretty well. Usually it's just kind of hard packed snow, but there's no hills or anything like that. So it's usually pretty comfortable to drive in with a all-wheel drive and regular radials. You can see here with the snow park area that it's shared by both the snowmobilers, cross-country skiers, snowshoers, etc. And oftentimes people might be camping up here all weekend. So sometimes it can be a really kind of fun place. Anyway, we're starting to get ready here and get the skis on, put a little bit of wax on them so we don't clump up as we go. Now today's trail we're going to be doing is the Ice Cave Loop, and this is about 4 miles and is rated as kind of as intermediate. Really, like 2/3 of it's dead easy, and then it's like the last third of it is a little bit more challenging terrain with kind of some very kind of slight hills and a little bit kind of narrower runs. If you notice, right in the middle of that is an icon for the ice caves, and that is a side excursion that you can do, but it's really recommended you take some ice bikes or yak tracks and a helmet, just because it can be really treacherous kind of getting down and in there. Oh, and a flashlight probably helps too. Anyway, let's head out. This first area is kind of shared by both the snowmobiles and cross-country skiers, so it's good to have your dog on a leash. And you go for about 100 yards, and then you're going to come to a junction where it divides kind of the two use groups. Today's conditions, it was about 4 inches of fresh snow on top of a groomed base. And they do groom this area depending upon the amount of snowfall that you find. Although kind of conditions really dramatically vary, just based upon how many people have been up. Here it is after it's been freshly groomed. This was taken last year. And so you can see that's really well done. Each of the junctions on this particular loop, everything is incredibly well signed. So you'll see signage and you'll see arrows kind of pointing your way. You'll also see kind of the blue blazes up on most of the trees. And as you go on, the trail kind of gets narrower and more interesting. And in this case, we're kind of getting into areas where we're actually starting to break first tracks. I think the only person who had gone ahead of us was a snowshoer who was kind of off to the left a little bit later on in this video. But you can see the little guy there kind of keeping up with us, enjoying kind of being out and kind of playing in the snow. It's nice to stop periodically and just kind of take a look around. In this case, I was really appreciating this second growth dug fir stand that you're kind of sitting in the middle of. Just an amazing place. Anyway, we keep continuing up the trail. I think here we had a junction and we're kind of meeting up where some other people were. It was kind of neat when you get close to them and you pass them. They barely even know you're there. They're like, you get a real kind of sense of solitude while you're out here. And now you can see we're kind of getting into the latter third of the trail, and it starts getting a little hillier, a little bit more challenging conditions. I think it's kind of more fun just to get in, maybe get a little speed in places. Where's Ollie? There's Ollie. This was kind of neat. This was kind of a big old Doug fir that had a bunch of woodpecker excavations in it. They do this looking for all sorts of insect and larvae that are just under the bark. But the bark on these trees is incredible. It's like maybe like 8 or 10 inches thick in some places. Anyway, so now we're getting into kind of the hill at the bottom. Oops. Uh-oh. Here comes the puppy love. Get her, puppy. So we're almost done with the hike. I think we have this kind of last straightaway, and then we get back to the road that kind of runs through the entire loop. And you can see over there by the hikers, that's where the road is. And there's the sign for the snow park. So we'll be there in just a minute. I also just wanted to kind of walk you through the warming hut. This is located right in the middle of the parking lot next to the restrooms. And there's a big old wood stove in here that oftentimes is running during the day. As you can see, it's a great place to kind of come eat lunch or kind of have a beverage with your friends. And there's plenty of room in here. Also up on the walls are maps and all the rules and regulations and everything you could ever want to know about the area. It's time to head on back down the road. You get a kind of a nice view of Mount Adams as you go. In this case, the sun would pop out here and there with a little sunshine on the mountain, and we'll head into Trout Lake, where we always stop at the local general store. This place is a blast from the past. It's got all sorts of things from homemade pies to beer, ice cream, soda. In this case, we bought the chocolate and peanuts. This is locally made. Great stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like it, hit like and comment and share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.